is correct, and I support that recommendation, even though it did not come from committee, just her own personal one. We adopt policies for a reason. My first inclination when I heard was, okay, well, it was snowing, and and I'm like, but when we got the log, it met every single criteria, and so
I'm actually uncomfortable that we're talking about this kind of right now, that this hasn't gone to a committee.
It has gone to
I know, I was there, but without the ability for the individual to.
And
she had a one-on-one conversation with one trustee.
she was invited tonight.
Yes,
Trustee McKay.
here.
Trustee McKay?
I'd just like to say that when the policy was updated and adopted, I never, in my mind, imagined that it was intended to be applied this way. So I would not support the removal of the Plan Commission member. I'd like to make a motion to temporarily suspend policy number 33 and to maintain Leah Blankenship as a member of the Plan Commission pending review of the policy by judiciary personnel.
Before there was, I'd like to ask for.
I have a question too. What?
If this motion fails.
Okay, can I just ask a question? What was the intent of the attendance policy? Because it's only like a page and a half, and it outlines very clearly that it's important, certain committees it's really important that the attendance for functioning appropriately. This is what I remember from policy, and that if you miss 50% in a year, over 50% of the meetings, or more than 3 in a row, that any board member can make the recommendation to remove you with contact. And what would be the intent?
I actually say if we're not clear on the policy, then
For
perhaps
me, you
similar.
helped write it,
Yeah,
so
if
what
you
was
mind.
the intent? You said that wasn't the intent when you drafted it, so what was? Can you just help me?
It sounds like none of us know.
No,
Oh, I
would
know,
say
I know
no.
the intent, I'm just asking what Ann, Trustee
Great.
McKay had said it was not the intent.
To be applied.
Right.
So if you want to discuss the policy, then I would say that we agenda that discussion for a future meeting and remove the action that's being proposed tonight. I'm happy.
I'm just asking you a question because you made a statement. Okay, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? I'm going to say I wholeheartedly do not support throwing out our attendance policy. The Plan Commission that I chair is an important board, and we're doing a lot of good work with conditional use permits. We're doing a lot of good work with redoing our zoning code this year with our new planning director, and I think it's very critical that we stick to our policies, term limits, attendance. I mean, again, if it was one or the other, which is 3 in a row or 50%, I think Trustee Carpenter as JP&L chair and the president of the village would have made an exception, or at least recommended to this board, well, let us talk to and find out why. We both just, even the planning director said that's pretty egregious, so.
I'd like to ask though, when was the commissioner told about, did you have a discussion with?
So
So staff does that.
in my conversation,
I spoke with her about this.
she realized that it was her own fault that she didn't know. And, I think there are things that happen, and I definitely understand that, but if they're not aware of the policy, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And the other sort of concern and question that I had and that we discussed was how these absences were excused. And I don't know that there was a real, I don't know who excused all of these absences. So
Well, that's what I have a question about. It sounds like we're taking action on things that happened in the past without knowing if there were conversations.
Right, I mean, I think
Right,
that that was
this year, just this year, I mean, it was just this past year, so.
I think that, she admitted she was very busy. She's served on this board for, several years. And so I just think there's an attendance policy for a reason, and we have, this is the state statute board that requires quorum, and to look at, it's almost 60% of the meetings that were missed, so.
Was there a remediation process going forward?
I mean,
Oh, trustee McKay.
To your question of intent, so the intent was to have a policy that, that identified what the circumstances would be upon which the chair and staff and the chair of JPNL would engage with the commission or committee member and to talk about the absences and if that could be, if there was an inability to make the commitment and to serve, whether there was whether there was something that could be resolved, could not be resolved. And so I didn't have, the reason why I felt comfortable with the policy is because it just set circumstances that once that was in play, then this conversation would occur. And that isn't my impression of what's occurred, and that's not a blame, it's just more of a, this isn't the right time to take action. And so that's why I made the motion and why I will support it tonight.
And just to be clear, I'm sorry, I don't know if everyone knows this, but it was only at committee, it didn't come to full board yet, but our staff member reached out and to the individual, to a committee member, which is standard. Our JPNL chair has contacted her, and I have spoken with her through text. I was in Florida, and all three of those have been met. So we are here tonight with meeting the policy process to vote.
You forgot the
Trustee
first.
Warren.
I was gonna say, that kind of trying to boil it down right now. Couple things. First of all, it sounds like at this point, because we do have this removal requires a 2/3 vote, it sounds like the votes aren't there. What I'm seeing in the policy though is there's an attendance policy, then it bumps down to a removal policy when you go to the board and you require a 2/3 vote. I think there's a little bit of ambiguity there, is that if the attendance policy were an automatic you're off the, I think we should state it that way, as opposed to like now we have attendance and removal. So I do think there is an ambiguity there because it appears as though we say you have to do this, but if you don't do this, you then go to the board where you need a 2/3 vote. So I think we want to clean up that discrepancy. And maybe I'm not explaining it real well, but there, right now
If
you
you
have,
meet the criteria, then
it should be, then
automatic almost.
yeah, then we want it to be automatic unless there's some kind of countervailing circumstance, but it's not that way right now is what I'm saying. There's an
Yeah, it doesn't kick in, but we have the ability to follow that, to follow our own policy, which is for the vote. Yes, trustee McKay, and then I'm going to wrap up comments.
So as the outgrowth of all those conversations, did the plan commission member at any point say that she would be unable to fulfill her duty to serve?
Does she need to say that?
Well, we would
That's why we
want to
have an
know.
attendance policy.
Right, so was there any agreement or was there the expression to fulfill the term?
For me, when I talked with her, I expressed that it's a new policy. I mean, it was updated, and that the village, and she totally understood. I never asked the question, can you fulfill the role, because it's clear that she hasn't. So
Right, but policy is written so that we have guidelines, but we have the human element here that we have to remember as well. So part of the problem that I have with this is that I hear that these conversations happened after this was agendized, except she was reached out to by the planning director. And then this was at the last meeting.
staff liaison.
Yeah, and before that though, there was no reach out from any other members. I know that trustee Amenda had requested her removal, so that's how the ball got rolling. So procedurally, this might be a new policy and our first time dealing with it.
It's not new, it was just updated in some
Okay.
ways. It's been around for years.
What I mean by that is that this is our first time taking action on
Not
something.
true. We actually took action with Peter.
No, he chose to resign, so
No,
he
he did
didn't have
not
to go
choose to
through this.
resign. He did not choose to resign. We went through the exact same procedure. I spoke with him on the phone, just like our JPNL chair did, but at that time, we didn't have JPNL in place, so I did it as the president and the appointing authority.
Okay, so if I can
And-
continue though.
And let me just say, in our conversation, she recognized to Jessica that, yeah, he was really busy. And so he was not opposed to being removed.
Okay,
But the same process was followed. I always follow procedure and I'm very consistent.
okay, so then we might want to look at the procedure, because the procedure is where I have problems with. Not necessarily the policy, but how the policy has been, the procedure behind it. So in an HR program like anything, these are volunteers, and I understand how important it is for attendance, but if someone is not given the opportunity, to explain. I just think that we're being
She
unnecessary.
was invited tonight, just as.
Tonight? This is all after the
Trustee
fact.
Menta and then trustee Wesley.
I would like to have a chance to make a comment. When her reappointment came up, there were attendance issues at that point, and I mentioned it to Guy, and Guy said, oh, I didn't realize, I'll talk to her. Now, I don't know if he did or if he didn't, but they were brought up in public session and brought to the president at that time his attention. Number two, Nathan, who technically, the president makes this appointment, correct?
Yes, it's under 16-2 of the village code. It says the member shall be appointed by the village president but confirmed by the village board.
Okay, so if she appoints, can the president also take action to unappoint somebody?
With the 2/3.
Is the question unilaterally?
No, and have that decision confirmed by the village board?
Well,
Yes, we delegated it
Well,
through
let him
policy,
answer.
right, to JP&L at some point in time, but ultimately it resides with the president to make the recommendation
No, to make the appointment.
and the appointment, the recommendation.
Is that accurate? Is that accurate interpretation?
can you repeat the question again?
So if she makes the appointment, can she also make, say,
I recommend it to you,
say I'm unappointing somebody
with the confirmation of the village.
with board confirmation?
Well, I think the way to answer that is that the policy or the procedure identified in village code, or excuse me, village policy number 33 under removal, it is the process that the board has created.
Agree on, okay.
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
Okay. All right, well, I would like to call the question. Because we have to do.
So with trustee Warren, I already had said that he could say one more thing, and then I think we had a motion and a second, and I'd like that repeated, so trustee Warren.
Trustee Carpenter, just wondering, is there any kind of remediation plan here? That's one thing that we haven't really answered as we've gone around. Is there?
There's nothing in the policy.
I mean, she said that she was gonna come. So, I mean,
Here you
Well,
are.
we can invite.
We
her
could
to
ask
speak.
her. It's
We did invite her to speak.
Do you not realize that I'm sitting right here?
Sorry.
Come on up. Oh, I didn't realize that was you, come on up.
I apologize, I understand this is incredibly.
This is incredibly embarrassing. This discussion in front of me without having me speak.
And I apologize, but I really did anyone know that I,
Yes.
oh.
She was.
Okay.
Well, you guys don't plan.
Unfortunately, I think some of my words have been misconstrued. I understand policy. I'm not a child. I do understand that. Life happens, things happen. I've been on the Plan Commission for almost 5 years, and I value my time. I am grateful for the opportunity. And in 5 years, I have never been made aware of the policy that was amended 2 years ago. Whether that's my fault or someone else's fault, I'm not pointing the fingers, I'm just stating the fact. I was not aware of this policy and this procedure. And on top of that, in 5 years, no one has discussed with me that there was any issue or that there was any previous discussion to remove me. And it is quite embarrassing to know that those discussions occurred and no one approached me about that, especially with my reinstatement. When I was voted for my second term, all I got was the email congratulating me on my second term. There was no P.S. By the way, this is something that needs to be worked on, let's discuss this.
Yeah, and I apologize for that, because the request was made of the past president.
Which I now know. None of this was brought to light until now, and it's now been brought to this point, and it is quite embarrassing. All I can say in my defense is that these absences were legit. It wasn't because of snow.
Oh, it was just the last one, it was a snowstorm, so.
It was actually because I was sick and it was the polar vortex. If you want to go into detail, I mean, not even my job requires those type of details, but I will give them to you. In 2017, which I know is when this started becoming a problem, I had a night class on Tuesdays. Obviously, in hindsight, I should have been more forthcoming with my explanation for why I was missing meetings, and I understand that. However, for 5 years, I was following protocol and how things were handled. We get the email with the agenda, can you make it, can you not, people respond, yes, no. End of discussion. I wasn't aware that I needed to flush out a reason because of this. And I understand that now and moving forward. I have no problem doing that because I would love to avoid this type of situation. This situation is in no way a reflection of my commitment, my attitude. I know a lot of you think it does. That upsets me. I don't want to be seen as someone who's not fulfilling my duties, and I don't want to be a detriment to the commission. If for whatever reason people want me gone, there's nothing I can do about it. If you want to remove me.
Thank you, and I think you heard from trustee Carpenter and myself, in no way is this personal. This is a statutory board and committee, and so attendance is very important. We did check back in the files, and there were no reasons or, given for the attendance of not